What's up YouTube? Plus Master here, bringing you part 2 of the series, How to Start Playing Vanguard. With Steven, let's get you the video. Right, so now we're going to go over the secondary ride lines. And I have a couple images here for the cards that I don't have, and then we'll put them up so you guys can see them as well.
Yeah. Also, I had a quick question about the cards. How can you tell which card belongs to what clan? So, like, if I were to be going out and trying to put together a deck and buy cards, but I want to stay focused on one clan, how do I build my deck like that? How do I know?
Alright, so what you can do is you can go on TCG Player and you can look at Genesis of the Five Greats, and you can look at Brush of the Legends and the starter decks. Those are going to be all the cards that are out right now for Overdress. And then how to identify what the card is right here. It will say Stoicheia.
Okay.
Like right there.
Yeah.
So that'll be the nation it's from, is Stoicheia. And then there's a couple cards like this one and this one right now that are also, it says Keter Sanctuary, but it's also a Shadow Paladin. And then it's an Abyss Dragon. So.
Okay, so you just read down there.
Yeah, so it'll be on the bottom right, Dragon Empire, Kagero, and then it should be a Flame Dragon.
That's tight. Okay, cool.
So that'll be all of those. And then if you want to see, hopefully that'll be clear now. Maybe put some arrows in there. So the one that you've been holding on to and looking at is the other form of Keter, which is, like we talked about, how you like Bastion. So there's the same nation, and this is the original representation of Shadow Paladin, or like Keter, unless you're talking about Royal Paladin, which is Blaster Blade, which looks similar to him. This is Blaster Dark. So this ride line is going to focus on calling units out to be able to retire them, to be able to give your Vanguard an extra plus 15 and a crit to retire your opponent's rear guards. So it basically kills their own to power themselves up. So that's why they're the Shadow Dark ones. And then I have just a tech Vanguard here. He doesn't have a ride line, but he has a similar skill to a guy that does have a ride line. And this guy just allows you to use this special skill that's called Alchemagic, which makes it so when you use an order card, which is like one of the cards we talked about earlier with the prison.
Yeah. So
this nation uses order cards a lot. The Stoicheia nation, especially the basically the pirate ghost zombie ride line, which is going to be this guy, and then we'll put Zorga up, which this is Zorga right here, so you can see him. That's Zorga. So he's like pretty sick. He's just like a zombie kind of mermaid Poseidon dude.
I love that phrase right there. Yes, show it to me. That which you call your way of life.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sick. So that's what we're looking at here. Let me just layer. So what this guy does, and then I'll explain how he's different, is you can just counterblast to bring back a guy from your drop zone, which is your graveyard. So they are kind of like a zombie deck in that sense, because they bring stuff back from the dead. So you can bring one back, and then when you use an order card, you can banish or bind a order card from your drop zone, and then you just apply the skill on top of the order card that you played, and the cost.
Okay.
So it'll be like there's a card that's Soul Blast to bring something back, and then there's a card that's like Soul Blast 2 to be able to bring 3 back. So you'll be able to Soul Blast 3 and bring back 3 guys, basically.
Okay.
But that's not the most ideal thing, honestly. There's other combos to do with there. You mainly use, you want to get the persona ride off, and then you, like, which persona riding is riding the grade 3 on top of the same named grade 3. And it gives the whole front row plus 10,000, and then you get to draw a card.
Okay.
So you want to do that, and it has an order card that gives 3 of your units plus 10,000. So you basically do that. You do plus 10,000 to 3 of your things, and then you do something else to like bring something back, or like bring something back and kill some of their stuff and stuff like that. So you can, it's like a control-y thing, but the thing is, the order cards don't have shield value, so you're like, and they're also not units, so you have to be careful how many you play, and then you can kind of break a little bit easier because of that. But it is probably the most fun deck in the format right now. I would say it has like the most options to like be creative, such as like it technically has 3 vanguards,
Okay.
just in that kind of play style of that, and then they have the starter deck vanguard, which was the cat. So it has like the most options to like change up the deck.
Okay.
Basically.
Which basically gives you a huge range for strategy and in a way. I mean, every player is going to play like in a unique way.
Yeah, exactly.
But it gives you a lot of room to kind of figure out where you stand and how you like to play the game, as opposed to kind of being more restricted into like these cards really only get used one way.
Yeah, exactly. You can kind of create your own identity with the style that you play.
Yeah. A question I had actually was, is it possible to, because we're talking about how all the cards are basically as a clan used together, right? So can you cross, like, I've got a card from Clan A and then I've got a card from Clan B. Can you like use cards like that? Or
no?
I kind of figured that wouldn't do anything based on how the game works. It wouldn't do anything for you. So am I right in assuming that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, it would basically, like, depending on, like, maybe not right now, but just if the game was like that, if it was like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you could just mix and match like whatever you wanted, you like, I think it's kind of like that for premium, because you have such a wide option of cards.
Okay.
But to be able to do that with all of the, like, even if you were just to say one nation got all of the clans, that would just be insane. But to say like all of the nations could be used together, like you would just, I don't even know, like that.
You would just be,
the deck for that just seems like crazy. Like you would just be like trying to think of stuff for so long too, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm just overcomplicating it.
No, you're not. It's a good question, but it just I probably am overcomplicating it, because there's like, just like, oh my gosh, like if you could do that, like all the things that you would be able to do, like because it would be like, for example, like Stoicheia doesn't really have a countercharger, but Kagero, all it does, like all you have to do is hit with your Vanguard and you get to countercharge.
Okay.
So if it had access to that, like it would just be like amazing.
Yeah.
Like
borderline OP.
Yeah, exactly. So you would just be able to like do. There would be no like weakness.
Yeah.
Basically, you could create no weakness, and then people would probably play similar, like even closer to similar builds. Less variety, but yeah, it's just if you're playing Stoicheia, you're only playing like Stoicheia cards, and they actually made it so the order cards like this, it should say, so it says Dark State right there. So even the order cards in this format are assigned to a nation.
This guy looks like he's hurting, man. Like,
Yeah.
From the inside.
Yeah, we could go over that dude.
I feel it.
He's the master of gravity. Can I just switch over here? So we got master of gravity.
Yeah.
Right here. So this guy, he's a part of Dark State, so it's the whole soul manipulation to perform tricks or certain requirements, and based on how much soul you have, he gets additional effects. So There he is. Which he's a really good, like, price wise, but his strategy, like, if you want to play it, like, you can definitely, like, win with it, I would say.
Okay.
But if you're, like, not giving it that much attention and stuff, you're probably not going to, like, really effectively learn how to play it to, like, win.
Correct.
It's kind of more of a commitment deck, I would say. Like, you want to play it. Like, but, like, I think just the budget option, it's just, like, a good thing to, like, if you're trying to play a different deck for a little bit, I think it would be a good option just to have, too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just to, like, get a different feel of something else. Which, what he does is, if you have 5 cards in Soul, you'll get to draw a card. And then 10 in Soul, you get plus 10,000 and a crit until the end of that battle. And then if it's 15 or more, which is like the stretch, like there's decks where you can get that like your first grade 3 turn, and then there's decks where you kind of like wait it off a little bit and then do it. But it's really threatening because both you and your opponent put all of your own rear guards into your Soul. And choose 2 cards from your Soul. So everyone puts their cards into their Soul, and then you get 2. So there could be builds where they could take advantage of the Soul, but I think just getting rid of a whole board like that is just gonna be kind of annoying, especially if you can consistently do it like right away too. Which
okay.
So
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so and then they'll get plus 10,000, so you're already getting like some guys that are going to be able to put some nice swings in and do some other stuff. And the cards revolved around this deck. They just put cards into your Soul, which is just stacking underneath the Vanguard. Every time you ride on top of your Vanguard, the card you just rode on top of is going into Soul, increasing the Soul stack by 1 every time you ride. So this deck, you basically just focus on putting like 1 or 2 or 5 cards into Soul every time you get your turn.
Do you do that straight from your deck, or do you do that from the board?
Yeah,
into, like from one of your guard positions, then you move it into
so when
you just said it.
So when you ride
into Soul, or do you go straight from your deck?
So when you ride it, the cards underneath are just going to be Soul. But when you're Soul charging, it's gonna take the top card of your deck and then put it into Soul.
Okay.
So it'll be totally random.
Okay, yeah, so you just pull from your deck.
Yeah,
Okay,
so you don't know. It's kind of like a drive
That's kind
check.
of cool. No, but I like that. I like that because I like that aspect of the game, just right there alone, like as I'm learning about it, mainly because I feel like that gives some sense of like the game is just doing its thing, and you kind of have to work with that along with trying to, outsmart your opponent, essentially. Okay, that's really cool.
I like the Soul idea too. That's mainly Dark State's niche, is like dealing with like the Soul. Other decks are mainly just going to be using the Soul to pay cost.
Okay.
Dark State actually uses the Soul to maintain a board. Like, you bring your guys out from the Soul, you put them in the Soul. That's their whole niche. So it's a cool one. It's definitely a cool one. What else was I gonna say?
So we were going over the clans, then we were going over aspects of the individual cards and essentially how they get used in the decks and how they relate to other decks.
Yeah.
From here, where do we want to go?
Yeah, there was something you said though, I was just like, maybe it'll come back to me. So the last one we have to go over, we actually have a few more now that I remember.
Okay, cool.
So we have the other Brant Gate ride line,
Cardinal Deuce,
which is going to be Orphis, this guy right here, what his thing is. So Brant Gate is the prison deck where they lock up your cards and you have to pay the toll to be able to get them out. What this one does is he creates tokens. He creates Shadow Army tokens that are 15k, and you can use cards like this right here, and he pops one of your tokens, and then he pops a rear guard.
Okay.
So you can use your tokens to like swarm the board and attack them with it, and you can also use them to like draw, and like you pop them to draw, you pop them to pop their stuff, and then it focuses on that field spell aspect. Brandgate is kind of focused on the order card being a field spell. Stoicheia is it being kind of like blitz order spell card kind of deal. So like there's not really, I wish it had more blitz orders, but it has one where you can kind of just well, it has two actually. No, it does. Okay, all right, it has a few. There's one blitz order that you can counterblast 2, and you minus a crit, which if you look right here at the bottom of the card,
yeah, that's it.
It's a crit. So that's how much damage it does. So what that does is it counterblast 2 to -1, so this will be a 0. So if this thing swings at you, it won't do any damage.
Okay.
So that's one of the blitz orders, and then another one is you can give it any one of your units +5, which most likely will be the vanguard, so you can use that +5 to shield. And then you can bounce up a card back into your hand. So since you can bring things back to life, you can bring back like the perfect guard, which is a card that allows you to just block the attack no matter what the number is. Even if it's over 100 million, it will block the attack.
Okay.
And you just have to discard a card from your hand. So what you can do is you can use that blitz order to give your vanguard +5, bounce the perfect guard back to your hand, and then use that perfect guard to block. So that's another like defensive, like hand trap kind of feeling card. If like there's anyone that likes Yu-Gi-Oh, you know. And the other one is just based on your back row. You get 15 shield, or you get 5,000. And then if you have 3 cards in your back row, you get 15 shield. So it's just a defensive shield value card.
Okay.
So, but back onto this Orpheus, dude. Just the field aspect of Brandgate is you want to get your order field spells. The other one, you get it for free. You just get 1. This one, you'll get 1 for free, but you need 2 to actually be able to create your Shadow Army tokens and to actually be able to play the game, because it puts you in a game state of Abyssal Dark Knight, which is a requirement to use a lot of the skills. So having 2 of them meets that requirement. So other than that, it's really free. Like when I played against it, like it just seems like everything's really free. You don't even have to play any of your cards onto the board to be able to attack them 3 times. It only attacks 3 times. So that's one of its downfalls, but it can control the board and control its resources really well. So it's a really good deck. If you like the art style and stuff like that, I would definitely recommend checking it out, testing it out. And he's like one of the more expensive ones, but set 1's gonna get a reprint, and it's right now it's only $8. So that's not too bad. They've been making things a little bit more budget.
Probably to incentivize more players.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have the starter decks at like $4 when they first came out. I think if you buy them online, it's a little bit more now.
Yeah.
But so everything's pretty cheap to be able to start playing this game, and everything's pretty easy to come by as long as, like, you know, if you have the opportunity to go to locals, you'll be able to pick up a lot of the things as long as there's people playing Vanguard there. I don't know how your locals is, but they might have singles there for you to be able to upgrade your starter decks if that's where you're at right now, and then they should have players that might have spare cards just to help you out, especially if you're interested in the game. A lot of people want people to stay in the game, so they tend to hook people up and give them some cards to like have the initiative of like wanting to play now since they have the cards.
Okay.
And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing to know about the community and the engagement.
Yeah, and then there's also TCG Player. There's online vendors that you can pick up the cards from, and I know there actually is certain countries where you can't like get the cards, and that's like, I think that is a problem that Bushy Road is talking about dealing with, or the player base is hoping to go over. But most places that are interested in playing Vanguard, I would say they carry Vanguard. So
Okay.
it is accessible. So yes, we're still on the. We'll go to Eugene now. Do you have any kind of questions about this dude? The Orphis deck? Or any of the ones that we've gone over so far?
No, I mean you've been pretty clear with everything.
Alright, yeah, if anything comes up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can go to Eugene, which was the original meme deck, because it just didn't have enough stuff. But it's also a Dragon Empire deck, and one that I'm not interested in. But if you are, you should definitely play it.
Check it out.
So, this is Eugene. He's like a desert gunner kind of art style, which it's interesting. I feel like Vanguard Insider, if you guys watch him, he talked about this kind of art style and wanting some kind of basically desert runner kind of what is the term in Yu-Gi-Oh, like Gravekeeper kind of style deal, which maybe this doesn't quite meet Gravekeeper like art style, but it is kind of like a desert feel where it's based more on like humans, because Eugene is a human, when Dragon Empire is based more off of dragons. So he's more of a human and like kind of controlling dinosaurs and dragons and such to be able to maintain the board and use certain skills. So what he does...
That's tight.
Yeah,
That's
he uses
sick.
dinosaurs and stuff, so you might like that.
I relate to that just because I like that game.
Yeah,
Ark Survival Evolved.
Yeah, I thought maybe you might like him. His
really
play
sick.
style in set 2 is a lot better. He's no longer like the meme deck. He is still like, he's not the best, but he's good.
Yeah.
So what he does is you rest 2 rear guards, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and this unit gets 10,000 until the end of turn. So a lot of the skills that this deck has, they rest themselves to be able to get these kind of skills and stuff like that. So you rest them to get a skill, or no, sorry, I have that backwards. You can rest them and their skill, like they kill themselves basically. So it doesn't matter that they rest. So it's similar to like Shadow Paladin, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, you kind of just like, they kill themselves though to do additional thing, like they'll add to soul or call something out like that. Or there's a new dinosaur, which is like a long neck kind of dinosaur, I would say. And basically it allows you rest it for the cost of this guy, and then it gets to stand up and during your main phase. So like you basically don't pay the cost of resting it. So that's pretty nice. So you get a guy to be able to attack. And then if your opponent's rearguard was retired this turn, which that's like everything that the deck does, it's focusing on killing your opponent's stuff and calling out. This deck, I think, no, it calls from top of deck. So look at the same number, so you Soul Blast 5, look at the same number of cards from the top of your deck as the number of opponents' open rear guards, so max 5. And then you call that many. Choose any number of unit cards from among them, call them to rear guard, and put the rest into your soul. So if you're playing like an order or something, it'll just automatically go to soul. That's what it's saying there.
Okay.
So, and then you can also put units into the soul too if you want to, like, because it's Soul Blast 5. It's kind of heavy, especially since, I mean, it has soul charge abilities now. There's like a card where you just discard it and it goes into soul, which is really useful. But this is the only way to discard with Eugene is through the ride line to go into grade 1 from grade 0, grade 2 to grade 1.
Okay.
And grade 3, which we'll go over all that in a bit. So that's gonna be Eugene, and then who's that should be it. We went Master Gravity, Eugene, Orpheus, Zorga, and we went over Shadow Paladins. Next is just my favorite here, Dragonic Overlord. So this is the card. Basically, I would say this is Blue Eyes. Like he is like Blue Eyes for this game. And I started watching Vanguard. I couldn't play it. I actually made a deck and wasn't able to play for a little while until I went to a local shop, and the owner there taught me how to play Vanguard. He sold me a deck, my first Dragon Empire, Kagero, Dragonic Overlord, the Legend G deck, and taught me how to play from there. And I've been playing ever since, and I have just loved Overlord the whole time. So he's my main guy, and it's amazing because he came out in the newest format too, so which was really cool. So I still get to play with my favorite card technically.
That's really
and there's new ways to play over it. That's a little image of the character that plays Overlord in the anime, but that's not the artwork of the anime. It's just like a style artwork of him. So he's going to be able to, his main niche is just being able to attack and restand himself. So this guy's skill is when you attack a rear guard, they can only use order cards basically to guard it, or intercept, which intercepting is having a grade 2 that that's in the front row, or it specifies that you can intercept from the back row or wherever else it may be.
Okay.
So he can automatically hit it, and then when he hits, he gets to restand, and you counterblast, discard a card for cost to restand, basically.
Okay.
So, and then that he'll lose 1 drive check. So instead of him just attacking once and getting twin drive, he attacks twice and then checks 3 cards off the top of the deck, but he discards 1.
Okay.
So you get the card you discard back technically in card value by getting that drive check, and so it kind of just costs you a counterblast depending on what you discarded to get that extra attack. So his whole playing style is also just the same thing as Dragon Empire, so they're just retiring. This is Berserk Dragon. He's my favorite grade 2, actually. So, like, he's just like a twin-headed dragon. And he's known for just basically being able to kill something with 1 head for a skill to retire, and then being able to attack a unit with the other head. So that's why so that's why I really like him. Even in V format, I still like playing him just because he's one of my favorite, and he's pretty good in this format too. He gets a 15k base with a counterblast to be able to retire a grade 2 or lower on your opponent's board. So it's pretty nice. Nahalem is probably another fan favorite here, which he's a dragon Knight Rider basically.
I mean, instantly I love the colors. And the
graphics.
Right? It's just captivating.
Yes, so I mean,
sick.
This is like one of these two I would say are one of the original cards that like brought a lot of people into Vanguard. The Shadow Paladin, Phantom Blaster Dragon, and Overlord. And then you also have Royal Paladin, which they haven't introduced the old Royal Paladin main unit, which is Blaster Blade, which is like the Holy Knight version of Blaster Dart. So what this guy does is he's a ride line skill, and when you ride him,
that's unit. All of your vanguards get plus 5,000 unit.
Yeah, so
on the turn.
When you ride Overlord on top of him, he comes out of the soul. So that's like a cool little thing that Dragon Empire gets, but it's only when you ride Overlord on top of him. He comes out from soul, and then he also has a skill to soul blast to give both of them like Nahalem and whatever overlords you have as your vanguard, because Overlord has a card in premium that allows you to have 2 overlords in your vanguard.
Okay.
So it boosts the attack quite a bit. So you're, what is it? What are we looking at? I think it's 13, 20. It's somewhere around 24 base, and then you would get plus 10 because there's 2 of them in the spot. So it would be 34. Just being able, and that thing is just like Overlord, but even a higher form of him.
Okay.
So he allows you to swing 3 times, standing twice. So, yeah, premium is a lot of fun, which we'll go over premium
I
eventually.
want to see that in play, dude. Like.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just the swing. Like the thing is, the cool part I think playing that style deck is watching how people live through that shit and then win. Like they just know like shit is going to go down, and they have just been trying to make it to a nice sweet spot. They take a few of your attacks, then they're like, that's it, no more, and then they just try to throw it right back at you. So that's a really cool play style that I like, you know. And the main thing I like about it is like when you play all these other games, when you're like main guy, like your favorite card, right? Like say your favorite card is Blue Eyes, and you get them on the board. Well, in Yu-Gi-Oh, Blue Eyes isn't that great, right? He's not that great. But he's still cool, so you could play him, but if he dies, like, he's gone. You gotta figure out how to get another one there. Like, with Vanguard, like, Overlord will always be there, you know? Like, and he will most likely always give you 2 attacks. So you always get to do something on your turn.
Okay.
You're not just sitting there being like, shit, I wish I didn't play cards just for their artwork.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so, which is, like, it's nice if Yu-Gi-Oh goes back to that, being able to have these, you know, nostalgic cards that everybody loves actually playable in their formats and stuff. Yeah. So, which that's what they do very well, I would say. You know, these are, well, this deck, it's good, but it's not considered like super good. But I think it's got good potential, the Phantom Blaster Dragon deck. So then this guy, the grade 1 in the ride line, when you ride Nahalem on top of him, you counterblast and you search for any grade 1. So it grabs you a grade 1 from your deck and you get to pick, which is really nice. A lot of times your opponent might not let that happen. They just won't give you that counterblast, not attack you, just so you miss that little window to get a free card. Gotcha. But the main reason why they want to do that is because grade 1s in this format are perfect guards. So they're the cards that when you put it down to guard, you can discard a card, and no matter what the number is, it won't hit you. Yeah, so it's just a really good resource to grab straight from the deck. And you can also grab other things if you have that and you don't need it. And then this is just one of the classic units from the beginning of Vanguard, and it's just the starter. It just allows you to draw. All the grade 0s, they just have the effect where when you go second and you ride on top of it, you just get to draw a card. Only if you go second. Okay. Which we're going to be going more over that soon. So, after going to the card shop with Steven, he actually ended up picking out some cards I forgot to mention on the secondary ride line, which is Hexorb. And Hexorb is basically going to be able to help you look at the top cards of your deck to put them on the bottom of the deck to help you get triggers on your drive check. And then it allows you to give additional 10,000 when you hit a trigger. So it just doubles the trigger power when you hit a trigger. And it's a really good style, the deck style. It just focuses on checking the top cards of your deck and stacking the cards on the bottom. So if you want to check that one out, I would recommend it. It's also a Keta Sanctuary. That's why Steven was interested in the artwork and such. If you thought this video was helpful, hit like, hit subscribe, let me know what questions you may have. We're going to be going over, in part 3, we're going to be going over all the gameplay, all the phases that you have to go through for your turn, your opponent's turn, which is going to be just a reflection of what your phases were. But we'll be going over all that, all the symbols on the cards, and how to play the game, and tricks and tips. In that, a little of it, and then we might be doing like videos every so often that just are helpful tips and tricks. So, hit like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of that. Thanks for watching.